हाय, मैं हूँ आकांक्षा यादव और अभी रिसेंटली मैंने ना यूट्यूब शॉर्ट्स पे कुछ वीडियोस बनाए थे कॉमन मिस्टेक्स को लेकर. वन ऑफ द कॉमन मिस्टेक वाज स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ 16 इज़ 8 और स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ 16 इज़ 4. And after that, there was a lot of debate in the comment section. People were claiming that it is wrong, people were claiming that it is correct, and so somebody said that it is an inspiration from black red pen. So I had seen a few videos of black pen, red pen. So I went to his Instagram channel and I saw in his reels that he had made the exact same video, which I did not know before. He had made the exact same video, square root of 16 is 8. And then cut it out and then square root of 16 is 4, that is correct. Even in his comment section, the comment section were filled with this plus minus 4 debate, whether it is 4 or whether it is plus minus 4, and there were all kinds of comments. So I read the comments and I thought, and after that I made few more videos to clarify it, and there was one person who was adamant that I am wrong and he is right, and lots of things he has done after that. And he told me that I'm a disgrace, I should not be a teacher, and a lot of things. But that's about the negative side. Talking about the positive side, one of the users commented that he can understand that I'm doing this to increase the reach of my channel. So I'm new to YouTube and I've been trying, experimenting with the content along with my team. So we have done sort of research and all of that. So I did not know that this would reach so many people, but it worked. So you can also try making same kind of videos. And thank you so much for all the comments, for all the love, and for all the subscribers. My subscribers have gone, they've increased so much. So thank you so much for giving me so much love. But now coming back to the debate. It's not the debate, it's the confusion, right? This is the confusion whether square root of 16 is plus minus 4 or it is just 4, or whether we should use modulus or not. So this is based on all kinds of comments that we got. Okay, I understand that every one of you now know that it's not 8, it's 4. Alright. So now let's start. Okay. So we'll start from the beginning. The first thing is what is square and what is square root. So what is a square? So I'm just going to use a board and clear this confusion. Alright. So square is when you multiply a same number 2 times, then the product is known as a square. For example, if I am multiplying 4 2 times, it is known as 4 square, and the answer is going to be 16. Alright. Now similarly, we also have negative numbers. For example, now if I am multiplying minus 4 2 times or negative 4 2 times, I will get negative 4 times negative 4. Now when we multiply two negative numbers, the answer becomes positive. So this will also be 16. Alright. So square is pretty simple, that you are multiplying the same number 2 times and whatever result you are getting, that is a square of that number. So square of 4 is 16. Now square of minus 4 is also 16. Alright. Now square root is just opposite of square. So now what is square root? Square root is, the definition is which number you multiply 2 times to get that, to get what is given to you. For example, if I want to find out square root of 16, so the question is, the answer to this question is going to be which number is multiplied 2 times to get 16. Which number is multiplied 2 times to get 16, because we want to find out the square root of 16. Alright, and square root of any number is which number is multiplied 2 times to get the desired number. Now from top only you can see the number that is multiplied 2 times to get 16. There are two numbers, 4 and minus 4. Alright, so square root of 16, there is not just one square root. There are two square roots. One is 4 and one is minus 4. Because if you multiply 4 2 times, you get 16. If you multiply minus 4 also 2 times, you get 16. So square roots of 16 are both 4 and minus 4. So we should write plus minus 4. We can combine them together. Alright, when we combine them together, it is plus minus 4. So we all can agree upon this fact that square root of 16 is going to be plus minus 4. Alright, and Alright, so now what is the confusion? The confusion is the symbol, but I did not write in my short, I did not write square root of 16 is equal to plus minus 4. I used a symbol, and the symbol was this. So now we'll understand about this symbol. This symbol is known as radical, alright, this entire symbol, this is known as radical, and this represents positive square root or non-negative square root. Alright. So the confusion, those who are saying that the answer should be plus minus 4, they are thinking that we are talking about square roots of 16. No, we are talking about this symbol and 16 inside it. So this symbol represents only the positive square root, or it is also known as non-negative square root. Alright. So when I write square, like this symbol, radical, and we also call it square root only, we also call it under root, because positive, we always try to hide it. For example, 4, we never say positive 4 or plus 4, we always say 4. So similarly, it is in colloquial languages that this symbol is known as square root, but this is not square root, this is positive square root. That is all the confusion is all about. Alright, so this positive square root of 16 is going to be 4. So how do we find out the negative square root? Negative square root is used with negative outside this symbol. So for positive square root, in mathematics we write using this symbol, because mathematics is a language of symbols. Alright, and if I write negative outside, this represents the negative square root. Alright, so I I try to explain this concept using a short where I said that square root of 36 will be 6. If you put a minus sign in front of it, the rule was square root of 36 is plus minus 6, this is wrong. Square root of 36 is 6, minus square root of 36 is minus 6. So when you combine both the square roots, then the answer is plus minus 6. Alright. So I was trying to explain this, that this symbol means positive square root, that is non-negative square root, and if you write a minus in front of it, it becomes negative square root. So for example, if I write minus square root of 16, then it will become minus 4. Alright. So if you have understood it, very good, but still you think no, this is not making sense, so let's talk more about it. Alright. So what we have discussed, positive square root is given by this symbol. So whenever I write square root of 144, that will be just 12. Square root of 36, that will be just 6. Now negative square root is minus square root. Alright. So this is the symbol. So for example, square root of negative 144 will be minus 12. And if I write minus outside this, this will be minus 6. And if I write minus outside this, this will be minus 4. Alright. Now square root are both positive and negative. So when I just write square root, combined square root is going to be plus minus square root, because we are talking about both positive square roots and negative square roots. Alright. So when I write plus minus 144, this will become both plus and minus 12. When I write plus minus square root 36, this will become both plus and minus 6. And now I will show you some proof. Alright. So for example, let's not talk about perfect squares. All these are perfect squares, so their square root is a rational number. Let's talk about irrational numbers. For example, square root 2. If the answer of square root 2 was both plus minus 1.414, how will you represent this on number line? When somebody is asking you to represent square root 2 on a number line, will you do, this is 0, I am taking approximate value, this will you do like this and like this? If that is your logic, then the entire first chapter of NCERT 9th NCERT is wrong, because there they show you how you can like plot these irrational numbers on number line. So square root 2 is just 1.414 because we are talking about the positive square root, alright, and it will be on the right side of 0 on the number line. So when I am talking about negative square root, it will become minus square root 2. That is the another proof, alright, that on number line, because these are numbers, at the end of the day these are numbers, these are irrational numbers, and these were rational numbers because the final product is coming as a rational number. So number cannot be both positive and negative at the same time. It will be either be positive or it will be either be negative, except for 0, which is neither positive nor negative. Apart from 0, all the other numbers, rational, irrational, real, they will either be positive or negative. So when you say that square root of 16 is both plus minus 4, square root 16 is a number, and that number cannot be both positive and negative. So that is the second argument, alright. Then on number line, if you plot square root 2, it will be over here. So you cannot say that square root is both plus minus 1.414, alright. So similarly, square root 16 cannot be both plus minus 4, it is just plus 4, alright. So this number line is my second argument. Now the third argument is the operations. For example, you can perform these operations on calculator. So this number line, and we are shown how to draw these numbers on number line, that is given in 9th NCERT textbooks. You can go and check it out. So the operations. For example, if I take random operation, square root of 36 plus 7 times 2, alright. So if you like, you can ask any calculator, you can type it in, alright, and you will get always one answer. You will never get two answers. If square root of 36 were both plus and minus 6, you will get two answers in your calculators. I made one shot based on this also. I said square root of 25 minus 4 is just 5 minus 4. You will just get 1. You won't get plus minus 4 minus 4, that is 1 or minus 9. But one of the person, he also commented, no, the answer is 1 or minus 9, you are wrong here also. So just take any calculator, कोई सा भी calculator आप लो, and type it in, see what result you are getting. And if you think the answer should be 1 or minus 9, then all the calculators of the world are wrong. Alright? So this is not going to happen. So if you can check it, you can verify it. I am not saying that take my word for it. Take any calculator and type it in. The answer you will get is 1, 5 plus 6 plus 14, that is 6 plus 14, you will get 25 as your answer. If you get any other number as your answer, then square root of 36 is both plus and minus 6, but this symbol talks about only the positive square root. That is the third argument. The operations, when you are doing operations, we take only one value because square root 36 is a number. Alright. So that is about the numbers. So we have talked about the number line, we have talked about the concept, what this symbol means, and we have talked about the operations. Now there was one person, he talked about modulus, square root function, all those things. So we'll also talk about this in terms of algebra, that is the graph of square root x. So the next thing that you can do is take any graphing calculator. You can go to desmos.com and type on graphing calculator and get the graph of this function. The graph that you are going to get is this one. So if you have and take the value 16, you will get 4 over here. Alright. So this is square root x function. If square root of 16 was both 4 and negative 4, this won't be the graph. The graph that you would be getting is this one. And then it won't even be a function. So when you are talking about square root function, we are talking about positive square root function. Alright, so this again represents the positive square root, and as you can see, the domain is going to be from 0 to infinity, because as you can see from the graph, the numbers that we can take x can only be positive because squares are never negative. So number inside square roots are positive for real answers. And then range also, as you can see, it's starting here and it's in the first quadrant only. So range is also from 0 to infinity. That means the answer of square root x will always be positive. So that is the fourth argument to claim that this is just talking about positive square root, because this is the graph of square root x. You can take any graphing calculator and try to plot this function. Domain is 0 to infinity, range is 0 to infinity. If range is 0 to infinity, square root of 16 cannot be minus 4, because then you are going out of the range, which is not possible. Alright. Also, when I talk about this graph, this is square root of x, this is minus square root of x. So when you will solve integration problems in class 12th, the definite integration where you are finding the area of the curves, there we do that. When we are taking these, we take the limits from minus square root x to square root x, because this function is divided in two parts, square root of x and minus square root of x. And what is happening here? Over here y is square root of x, over here y is minus square root of x. When you combine them together, you get y is equal to x squared. Alright. So y is equal to x squared, x will be, or I'm sorry, y squared is equal to x. Yeah, that is what I was thinking. I did some mistake. Alright, so everyone does mistakes. Even I do mistakes sometimes. It doesn't matter which college you are from, which standard you are in, and no mistake is a silly mistake, or कि ये तो कोई भी नहीं कर सकता, इतनी common mistakes कौन करता होगा, सब कोई ना कोई mistakes करते ही हैं, ठीक है. तो y square is equal to x. Just give me a second. Yeah. So y square is equal to x. So y will be square root of x and minus square root of x. The upper part is representing the square root of x. The lower part is representing minus square root of x. If you have solved the calculus problems based on area, like using integration, you would have come across this. That is the next argument. So this function, it is talking about the positive square roots. Now let's take one more example, one more proof for this. Yeah. So now let's say we are talking about square root of x square, alright, and this is equal to modulus x. When you will plot this graph, y is equal to square root of x square, the graph that you are going to get is of a modulus x. Again, you are getting both, like you can check any graphing calculator. If you type in this, you will get the mod x graph. Mod x graph looks like this. Alright. Why we are using modulus over here? If square root of x square can have both positive and negative values, there will be no square root. Sorry, no modulus. Because this modulus is absolute value, and absolute value claims that it can only be positive. Look at this graph. What is the domain? Domain is all. If you look at the domain is all real numbers. What is the range? Range is 0 to infinity. Alright. So in mod x, for minus 4 also you are getting the same result as 4. For 4 also you are getting 4. Alright. So here also it is showing you clearly that square roots can only be positive. For example, now take the value. Y is equal to square root of x square is equal to mod of x. Alright. So if I take y is equal to square root of 16, it will be mod of 4. Absolute value of 4 is what? It is 4. Even if you write minus 4 whole square, let's take, you are saying that no, it should be both the answers. If you take minus 4, you take its absolute value. Absolute value of minus 4 is also 4. Alright. So even if your x can be both plus and minus 4, because x square, like for example, 4 square is also 16, minus 4 square is also 16. So this x can be both plus and minus 4. But when you are talking about this symbol, it is only giving you positive answers. That is, minus 4 will also become 4 and 4 will also become 4. And this is the proof. Even if you take minus 4 whole square, your answer should be absolute value of minus 4, and absolute value of minus 4 is 4. Therefore, it is not necessary to use modulus when we are talking about numbers. But when we are talking about variables such as these, then it is important to use this modulus, because this modulus is take only positive value. Do not take the negative value, because x can be both positive and negative. Next proof. So for example, if you have x minus 2 whole square, you never write x minus 2. If the answers were both positive and negative, you would write x minus 2, but you specifically write absolute value of x minus 2 because you are only taking the positive value, you are discarding the negative value. I don't know what else to say. And now there's just one, like I just want to make some more claims even if you're not convinced right now. Alright? Yeah. For example, the distance formula. It's a very formula that we use in geometry. It is x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. And we write it in square root. Now we all know distance can never be negative, distance is always going to be positive, right, because it's a scalar quantity. Now if distance can never be negative and if this square root will give you both plus and minus values, you would put an extra absolute value over here. You think all the mathematicians are fools that they have not put this absolute value if the answer was coming in both positive and negative. No, they have not done it because this is positive square root. So this symbol itself is indicating that the answer will come as positive only. Alright. If it were not the case, you will have absolute values attached to it. Now the next thing is the quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula is minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac over 2a. Now tell me one thing. If this square root symbol only were taking care of both plus and minus, why are we putting this plus minus outside? What is the use? The formula would have simply been minus b plus square root of b square minus 4ac over 2. Because whatever answer you will get from here, square root, it is inherently taking care of plus and minus. No, it is not. That is why you have plus minus, because we are taking both plus positive square root and negative square root. Alright. And you get two different answers. Negative b plus square root b square minus 4ac over 2a, because we are talking about the positive square root over here. And then minus b minus square root of b square minus 4ac over 2a, because minus in front of this represents the negative square root. So this answer will be positive only, that is why this minus will make it negative. This answer will be positive only, that is why plus will keep it positive. Alright. That is why you have plus minus, because you are combining both the square roots. You are getting two different answers because you are taking both the positive square root and the negative square root. That is the next argument, whatever I am talking about the confusion, whether it should be plus or minus. So now it's clear. The answer will just be positive whenever this symbol is given to you. Square root of 16 is just 4. And even if you put modulus, there is no need to put modulus because we are talking about a number. Absolute value of 4 is just 4. Alright. Now there was one more question, that was about equations. So in the equations I had solved this equation. It was x square is equal to 144. Alright. So x square is equal to 145. I had solved it that it would be plus minus square root of 144. X is equal to plus minus 12. So one of the comments was, why am I applying plus minus over here? The thing is, because this variable, it can be any square root of 144. So I am taking both positive and negative square roots. Alright, I cannot just take positive square root because then this will be wrong, because it is an unknown. The question is, what is a number that you multiply 2 times to get 144? So you have to take into account both the square roots, that is why it is plus minus. Alright. The other way to solve it, one of the users did in the comments, very good job. So what it did was x square is equal to 144 and then you take positive square root on both sides. Positive square root of x square will be just mod x and that is equal to 12. So x is equal to either 12 or minus 12. Because absolute value of x also gives you two answers, plus or minus both of them. So when you are solving equations, you are taking into account both the square roots. But when you are evaluating operations, when you are evaluating expressions, when you are just finding the value, they are separated. Positive, it will either be only positive or only negative, because in expressions or in operations, it is just a number. Alright. But in an equation, it will have two solutions, because two numbers satisfy this answer, this equation. Two numbers are satisfying this equation. plus 12 also and minus 12 also. Alright. I hope you are satisfied by now that it will just be plus 12 and not plus and minus, and I think I have given enough proofs why it is so. Even if you are not convinced right now, I just have one last concept, one last question. And that is related to the extraneous solutions. So extraneous solutions are, you get those solutions but they do not satisfy the equation, so you discard those solutions. When you are solving the equation, you get those solutions but the equation is not satisfied with them, alright. So, and we get extraneous solutions in square root functions and square root equations and rational equations. So I am going to take one example of square root equation. Let us say square root of x plus 6 is equal to x. To solve this, we will square on both sides. It will become x plus 6 is equal to x squared. I will bring everything on one side. X squared minus x minus 6 is equal to 0. Now this is a quadratic equation. I am solving this. So x minus 3 times x plus 2. Alright. I am not teaching you how to solve quadratics. I am not going to go into the details of it. I am just trying to explain the positive and minus, plus minus confusion of square roots. So from here you are getting x is equal to 3 and x is equal to minus 2. Alright. Now we always check our answer. So we will check our answers with x is equal to 3. We check if 3 plus 6 is, square root of 3 plus 6 is equal to 3 or not. So square root of 3 plus 6 is square root 9 and that is equal to 3. And square root of 9 is how much? It is 3. And they are equal, that is why this is correct. So this is a solution. Now we will check for minus 2. X is equal to minus 2. Let's check for it. Yeah. So I will put minus 2 for x. Right? So it will become minus 2 plus 6 is equal to minus 2 and we are checking if they are equal or not. Right? So minus 2 plus 6 is square root of 4 and we are checking if it is equal to minus 2 or not. So square root of 4 is 2. It is not equal to minus 2. Because this symbol, radical symbol, the under root symbol, it only takes into account the positive square root. It does not take into account the negative square root. But if according to your argument, no, it should be both plus minus, then why is this wrong? Why is this extraneous solution? Take any textbook which tells me that this is not the extraneous solution. Any textbook in the entire world and prove me wrong. Know that this is also a valid solution. If it is a valid solution, then okay, you are right, that square root of 4 is both plus minus 2. But if this is extraneous solution, that means that square root of 4 is only 2, it is not minus 2 and that is why this is an extraneous solution. Alright, with this I rest my case. I hope I have cleared all the misconceptions, all the confusion about this plus, minus and square roots, because it has been going, it was in my comment section also and it was way bigger in black pen, red pen comment section because he is way big YouTuber and he has so many followers. Alright. So yeah, I hope I think I have I've explained the concept of modulus, the square root x function, the extraneous solutions, the numbers, how to plot them on number lines. I have used everything, and even if you are not convinced right now, then I don't know how else to explain it to you. And yeah, so that is it. And I hope who all are having this confusion, जिनको भी ये confusion है कि ये square root x या square root 4 plus minus 2 होगा या केवल 2 होगा, I hope this video is helpful for those and I hope the future generation will be way more clear on these concepts. Thank you so much.